What you might hear on the Dad Podcast can be considered offensive. We have explicit content. You have been warned. Proceed with caution.
Titties!
You're listening to the Dad Podcast.
Let's get started.
Fuck those little kids. You saying that Troy Aikman up there looks like a fucking Weasley?
Well, he does.
No.
Yeah.
Not okay. Not acceptable.
Well.
And you should apologize to the great Troy Aikman. You look like a Weasley. Okay. One of the brothers.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know their names.
Okay.
But you look like a weasel. Obviously somewhere. I'm screwed up in my head or something. Because we've had talks before, like, if Daphne dies, I'm not going to be all upset and can't go to work and blah, blah, blah. She's a pet. She's a dog. She's not one of my kids. If you or Riley or Carter, were to get in an accident and died, I would be devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to try to push through for the other kids, but like it would kill me inside. That'd be horrible. If the dog died,
sad for a bit, but gotta eventually move on from it.
I don't even know if I'd be sad, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it was a dog, dogs die. But I've also had in my years many pets die, and it's just it sucks. I don't know, and like when we talk about it at work, people think I'm weird because I'm that way. I don't know.
I'd be sad, but I wouldn't be that sad if a pet died. Like, still be sad, of course, because I feel like I am a bit more like closer. Well, I don't know how to put this. Like, I can't think of the word, but like more attached to the pets than I feel like you are. I spend a lot of time around them.
And you're that way.
Mm-hmm. I love animals.
Well, I do too.
Well, not like just like love as a pet, but I feel like I don't know how to put this. I don't know.
I just don't.
I get attached to animals really easily.
But I mean, do you count Daphne as a sister, as a part of the family, or is it like it drives me crazy? It really drives me crazy, and I hate when people say, "Well, that's your kid." No, that's a fucking dog. That is not my kid.
I get attached to them, but I don't say, "Oh, siblings, daughter." Like, I see them as pets, but I do get attached to them.
Because I see this a lot too online. I am not a big social media kind of person. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anybody who listens to this podcast and notice I don't post a lot on our social media, I need to do better. I do. That's how we're going to get our name out there and spread and stuff. But I'm not big on it. Like, your mom sends me TikToks. Dan sends me TikToks. I don't sit on TikTok and scroll through the videos. And
I do, but that's just because I get bored super easily and can't pay attention to stuff for too long.
But that's also your generation. See that?
Generation?
Yeah, I said it with an accent. Generation. I didn't have that when I was your age or when I was growing up. We didn't have cell phones and internet. I mean, we had internet, okay. We didn't have the good internet. We had to wait for a couple, and dial up, and then you couldn't use the phone. It was just.
But now that technology is getting more advanced, kids are growing up on it.
Yes.
And they're always going to be on it because that's what you gave them to entertain them.
And I'm not saying that I'm not on mine all the time, too. It is very useful, addicting in a sense, but you can do everything on them. Mm-hmm. Like play games, watch TV, call somebody, text somebody, email. I mean, for years, I've been talking to people overseas on chat with this. When I was your age, I had to write out a letter, put it in an envelope, or if you want to be fancy, an envelope.
Envelope.
Put stamps on it, mail it away, wait for like 3 to 4 weeks for him to reply. Mm-hmm. And I did that. I had a pen pal in the UK. And I still have the letters. Actually, I think when we were cleaning the rooms, you found one the other day, or somebody did the blue envelope, and there was pictures in it. And
wasn't me then.
But yeah, so I mean, I had that, and it was awesome. It was fun. It was great to get pictures and stuff. But again, now I could be like, "How's it going, fucker?" And the guy in the UK could be like, "What's up, dickweed?" In seconds. And it doesn't.
I don't really get why, like, the older generations, like, millennials and older who are older than my generation, get so mad when they see, like, kids on technology. Like, first of all, people in your generation, aka their parents, are the ones giving them this technology. Your generation or older or something, both, are the ones who are making this technology so advanced, if you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
not them specifically, but it's their generation. Their generation's giving these younger generations technology, advancing it. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do. Yeah, we're the ones that are making you kids use it, kind of thing. That's
Yeah,
kind of
like-
like what you're.
That's what I'm like. That is like what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because you, as a parent or parents out there, are giving their kids technology to entertain them, and that's why they're getting so addicted to it all the time. And like, of course, it's not always just to entertain them. Like, some kids have phones to like contact the parents if an emergency. Like, when you give your iPad a kid, I mean, whoa.
I am not giving my iPad a kid. Okay, my iPad will not own a kid. No.
When you give your kid an iPad to entertain them when throwing a fit or they're bored, instead of like trying to, I don't know, finding something else to do, they're gonna get super addicted to it.
Your mom and I always, like trips, you guys would have an iPad or something to play on, but we were always try to, at least when you were way young, limit kind of the screen time. Like, you guys had, and I would hope you would remember, you guys had like, okay, you get an hour. You're not going to sit there and play on it all night kind of thing. You guys also played outside a lot. Your brother still does, which is awesome, but I think that's a boy thing. Like,
I would still be outside all the time if my only friend in this neighborhood didn't move away. Kennedy.
fucking Kennedy. And don't be like, oh, my parents made me. Shut up.
Shut up.
Your parents suck too.
Like, I want to hang out with my friends more, but with me at a different school, and now I go to school Fridays, and like pretty much all my friends don't except a couple, and they all do live quite a while away.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to just get out there and
But
just
at
hang out
what
with them.
age do you get a license? What?
Oh my goodness,
is it-
shut up.
14 and a half, you can have a license? And you still don't.
Oh my goodness.
Haven't tried. Haven't signed up for the class.
Why do you care so much?
Because I want you out my house. Not saying I want you to move. That'll come with time. I want you to be able to get out of the house.
And I just completely forgot I could get it. And then school started and I'm like, well, kind of don't want to try to mix it with school.
Yeah. But I did.
That's why, well,
Yawning a lot.
I was talking to Greta about it, I think like yesterday, the day before, because she asked like when I'm going to start taking driver's ed. And I'm like, in the summer, I might try to start a little earlier than that.
So I watched the news in the morning at work.
Yeah, I know. I was there yesterday.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
No, it wasn't.
Today they had Dr. Fancy Pants, whatever,
What?
on, and they were interviewing, and they were talking about kids nowadays don't even have the drive to want to drive, kind of thing. Like when I was growing up, it was like, I got to have a car. You know, I saved money and I bought my first car. $2,000. Got my very first car, bought it all myself, insured it. I paid for my insurance. I, took care of it, oil changed, all that. I did that. And that was the thing. Like, that's what you worked for. You're like, yes, I can start driving in a few years. I'm doing this. I got up on 6 a.m. on Saturdays, walked to the school to take driver's ed so that I could have a license and drive. Nowadays, there's so many. You could literally call up an Uber and have them take you wherever you want to go. Will I allow it? No, because your ass ain't getting into a car with no stranger at 15. But there's so many, in big cities. I mean, you got the bus. The bus is here. Bigger cities like New York and Boston, all that, they have trains and trams and subways and taxis and all. You can rent a freaking electric scooter and get to where, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many other ways to travel nowadays.
Technology and stuff advancing, they're going to have more different ways to.
Yeah, and so, like, a lot of people nowadays are like, well, I don't need to buy a car because I can get around just fine without one.
Are you sleepy?
I'm just fat. So fat I don't get enough oxygen to my brain, so I yawn a lot.
That's not good.
But yeah, so like, is that like to you? I mean, do you even have? And I'm not trying to be mean about it, but do you even have the drive to
Not
want
really,
to
but
get a
it's
car?
it's not like just I can get a bus or something. It's just it doesn't seem that exciting to me. I just don't know. It's weird.
Okay, driving to you may not be that exciting. I love it,
We know
but
you love it. Like,
it's a way to get you out.
I know. It's just I don't know.
And I
don't
tell
know
you
how to
what, if you're gonna get a job and make some money, you're gonna need to drive.
I know.
Because I will charge you out the ass.
What?
Uber Dad is expensive.
Urban Dad can get over himself.
Uber Dad has a price range, and it's a bottle of whiskey.
Oh,
How about finding a job? Like, are you driven to that? Are you like wanting to find a job?
A little more than driving, but it's also like certain jobs. Like, I just don't know if I'd ever really want to get. Like, I don't know, fast food. It's never seemed like, first job, good job. Just
fast food is never a good job.
well, that's not. What
It is a first job.
I just
Type like even I did.
Stay away from fast food. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't want to, especially with how here and how they McDonald's treated Carter.
Yeah, and
I know it's not all places.
You deal with a lot of Karens in fast food. A lot.
That's another reason
Is it Karens and Kevins? Is it Karens and Chads?
I hear Karens and Kevins.
Okay, I prefer that anyways because Chomos are Chads. It's just, I mean, even back in the 90s, when I got my job, and I was working Subway. Even back then, you still had a lot of shitty people. Like
that's never going to
job,
change. But I feel as time goes on, there's just going to be more.
What I had fun doing, but I don't even again know how it would be nowadays. I worked at Shopco, but I also had my buddy Randy that I grew up with. He was also there, and we had fun.
Stop yawning so much.
I can't help it. We had fun doing that together or Radio Shack in the right setting.
It would be really fun if you have a friend to start off with.
That's what I was saying. Like with the right people in the right setting, a lot of jobs can be fun. But I always thought, a record store would be awesome. Comic book store would be fun. Gaming store.
I feel like those would be fun.
But a movie theater.
If I could do my best to avoid fast food, I'm going to avoid fast food. I just don't want to.
I would like to work the theater, but
too.
not concessions. I would rather sweep the popcorn up in between movies than work concessions.
That's what I would want to do if I were to get a job at a theater.
I want to be the guy that walks around with the flashlight like, hey, you young whippersnappers, take your feet off the seats.
No one does that.
I would say it. I would totally. I'd walk in and there'd be some old man with his feet up. Hey, whippersnapper! Lower the bunions.
Old man, double your age.
What? You call me old?
Yes.
I
do want to work at a theater. I feel like that would be fun. Like, just like what you said, cleaning up popcorn and stuff and just walking around.
I mean, I would
like
take
that'd
that. Standing behind the concessions and be
that'd
like,
get boring.
what do you want? You want butter on your... No, I want fucking plain popcorn. Yes, I want
Like,
butter.
just walking around
Who the fuck
between
orders
seats,
popcorn without butter? That's just dumb.
Especially when you could just walk around the theater and when it's closed, even just cleaning, having the silence and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little bit creepy sometimes, but...
Nah.
Well, I get paranoid a lot. I watch too many scary stuff alone.
You...
Me?
And your mama?
Mama?
And Carter?
Qatar?
Probably your little pussy brother Riley. Do get scared.
I feel like I watch too many like ghost videos where like you could tell a lot of them are really fake. But I feel like just watching those alone kind of like not a lot, but paranoids me a bit.
So here's the thing with ghosts. We'll move on, I guess, from work. You'll have a job. You'll have a car. You'll have a life soon. Hopefully leave your bedroom.
Why leave it when it means I have to be around you more?
Get a van. You can live in your car.
I'm not going to live in a van.
And then you could take your room with you.
Dad.
So ghosts.
Ghosties?
Okay. I believe in
Support.
ghosts.
Me
Spirits. People's energy. Whatever you want to refer to it as. I do believe in it. I have had experiences.
I haven't. Kind of don't wish to.
I had bad experience. I had good experience.
Why
I
you
had
saying it like
medium
that?
experience.
Dad.
So I've had experiences with it, and whether people
I
want
like
to believe
the
me or
stories
not,
you tell me about.
yeah, whether they want to believe me or not, it happened. I know what happened. I was there. Okay, but I also feel, and this is just me, and maybe because it hasn't happened to me, I don't feel a ghost, a spirit, or whatever can harm somebody.
I feel like
Scare the shit out of you? Yes.
I feel like poltergeist maybe, but those are like the types of entities that can actually move stuff. Like what I know, or like what I guess from watching videos and just searching it up a bit, is poltergeist and demons aren't like, they were never alive. They were entities like all the time. Well, ghosts are more like dead people.
Yeah.
And poltergeist, from what I know, are really the only ones that can move stuff. And demons and stuff can possess you.
That's why I got that tattoo.
Dad.
I cannot be possessed.
Dad.
Unless supernatural lied to me and then I just got like a 5-inch artwork on my arm. But so Tyler and I, when the bearded blunder was on here, we talked about this, and he's big on multiverse. You know, there's more than one version of you out there, and blah blah blah. So if you look at it that way, okay, or look at it the way of, I'm not a
Going Rick and Morty style.
yeah, I love Rick and Morty. I'm not a religious person. Okay, I don't believe in heaven and hell and God and whatever else, which makes it weird that I believe in ghosts and shit. But look at it this way: is like your body has an energy. Okay, some people can call it the soul. You can call it whatever. You have an energy. When you die, that energy's got to go somewhere. So maybe a ghost is like the energy of a past person. I do believe in reincarnation.
I do too.
100%. And maybe that energy is like, okay, I'm done being reincarnated, or all the forms I was supposed to be reincarnated to are over with. And that's
What I like
the
to believe
energy.
is like a ghost or energy or whatever you want to call it is like a person who like maybe has unfinished business who has passed on, if that makes sense. Like I don't really think they can do much about it, but if like, oh, I didn't do this or this needs to be done, then I feel like they can't really pass on until it is done by something.
but pass on
That
to
makes
where?
sense.
Because again,
Well,
I don't believe there's
Pass on into reincarnation or
You-
something like
okay,
that. Like, because
okay.
I do believe in reincarnation and like a spirit is like, you know, I'm not ready to fully move on yet.
yeah. So let me ask you this: have you ever felt like you are a reincarnation of somebody else,
Sometimes.
or maybe not somebody else, but you? You know what I mean? Like,
Sometimes I feel like I am, but not like to the point where like can remember anything or like fully feel like I am.
so this is where I was going, because I have had dreams. The deja vu a lot, but
I feel like deja vu is like kind of memories.
yeah,
From a past life.
dreams. I've had some. I don't have dreams anymore. I guess because I'm old and my brain says you don't need a dream.
You're not creative anymore.
I do have them. I just don't remember. I guess, but
It is really hard to remember.
in the past, when I mean, I've had some that I remember that like you feel it so much, and you're like, I know that was something I did, but it wasn't something I did or something I've been or whatever. So to me, I do feel it's true, and nobody will ever convince me that it's not.
People can say what they want to say.
I believe science over faith or whatever, but
That's just the type of people you.
science I don't think can or can't prove. Do you mean science cannot disprove reincarnation?
Yeah.
Like, again, because it's the body's energy.
Have
Like,
you
I
ever
mean,
seen like a story or like a video somewhere like explaining how like their child is like remembering something that they like did before, but they're only like 7, and it's like
yeah,
I saw a video where a kid was like remembering in details like details about the Titanic that wasn't in the movie or anything, and they're like, oh, this
the
happened,
movie suck.
this happened, or this happened to me. I was a passenger on the Titanic, and it was like a 6-year-old kid who's probably never even seen the movie Titanic, but like, or even heard of it, but like, you know, is remembering about it so much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen those stories. I've witnessed, not witnessed, you know, I've heard people talking about it and like that, but that is something that I will always believe in, have faith in, or whatever. And so I guess maybe that also goes to my feelings about death, and I'm like, people die.
Yeah, it's just a part of life for
I
everyone.
mean, technically we've been dying since the day we were born.
Every day you die a little more.
Not even technically, literally. We have been dying since the day we were born. Maybe, I guess because I believe in reincarnation and I feel that you're always going to come back as something else, or maybe that's why I'm like, oh, my dad's dying. It happens.
That's why you're like a little more okay with it.
Yeah, a little more accepting. Now, again, if I was 12, what are you now, like
15?
13?
No, that's Riley, Dad. Calm down.
If I was younger like that and my dad was dying, I do feel
It would affect you a lot
it would
more.
affect me a lot more, even though at that age he wasn't around.
At that
it
age,
would
you
still,
were a grown adult. You were still like growing up, and there were
Yeah.
these points where like, You know,
if I make it to Riley turning 45, so he's 13 now, so another
he's 32 years younger than you.
32. Jesus, don't point that shit out. You guys just scratch that from your brain pans. You didn't hear that.
It never happened.
So 32 more years. So that would put me at 77.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, I'd be okay moving on to my next life.
Mm-hmm. Because you've seen all 3 of your kids grow up to full-grown adults.
Yes. Now, if I have the chance to become a vampire,
You and your vampires.
I will take it in a second.
Going back to the deja vu thing for a moment.
Yes.
And with like reincarnation, I don't really feel like there's a really good way to explain deja vu except an old memory or something, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
yes,
that makes more sense to me, that it's like a memory from a past life instead of like, oh, you know, it's just this and this. Like, I don't feel that way. I feel like it's maybe more of a memory.
Agreed. And everybody's going to have their
own opinions.
Yeah, which is whatever.
You know, you're your own person. I'm my own person.
I will never be a dick to somebody about religion. There's a lot I do not. See, I'm thinking
You
of donuts.
and your donuts. Even on the walk.
There's a lot of things with religion. Every religion, not just certain religions. Every religion has stuff that I have issues with and I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And the worst part is every religion, at least in the United States, goes off of the book. Mm-hmm. Yet they're all different. Okay? So even if I believed in religion, who am I to say which way is the right way?
Exactly.
So, and the fact that they all preach love and acceptance and then they all practice hate and rejection.
Like, oh, you know,
it's not for me.
Love and stuff. And then if you're pretty much anything other than white and straight, oh, you're going to hell.
If
you're
if you don't praise this wonderful,
you don't praise a
long-haired
God
dude in
I
the
believe
sky,
in, you're going
the way
to hell.
they say you should praise them, you're going to hell.
And on the hate thing, like, I've been thinking about it a lot, especially since I've been seeing like a lot of videos and stuff of like people talking about it, is, you know, Christians mainly, like some or stuff, I guess, will be like all upset if you're gay, but then go on and speak about like, oh, you know, God made me this way, but God also made gay people and black people. If that's the way you believe, God made everyone the way they are. So why are you saying someone's going to hell for the way God made them?
Yeah.
Like, being gay is not a choice. You're gay, that means you were born gay.
Yeah, no, and it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, maybe it's a phase, or they chose to be. Nobody chooses to be hated, and well, except for terrorists. And
What?
I said except for terrorists, they choose to be hated. Yeah, it's not a choice. You don't like. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to make the rest of my life difficult.
I feel like being hated for the rest of my life for liking a person I like.
Yeah,
like, also, I saw a video about it a little bit ago, talk about, like, homophobes and stuff, like, why, like, she literally mentioned, like, why can't you guys just mind your own business? It's not affecting you if someone else is gay.
Yep, it does not do anything, just like all this shit going on.
Like, the way someone is living their life, like, gay or straight or trans, it's not affecting you as a person.
Yeah, no, not at all. One dude marrying another dude and put his pee-pee in his butthole.
Okay, you don't need to go into detail about that. But like,
doesn't change my life.
Also, why
it doesn't harm my taxes. It doesn't hurt my family's health care. It doesn't cause me to be like, I want to try. It doesn't. But you get what I'm saying? Like,
I do, but you're a little weird right now.
I'm always weird. It has nothing to do with anything of me.
But like, the way they see it, why can't I get married to a girl, but you can get married to a dude? Why is that okay? But why is it okay for you to marry who you love, but I can't marry who I love?
Exactly. And they're taking it like, it all goes back to, and I'm sorry to say this, and people are going to get upset with me, religion.
Exactly.
Religion is telling you, and you know what?
Does it even say anything about gay people in the Bible?
No, it does not say thou shalt not suck dick.
Okay, you gotta stop.
It doesn't say you shouldn't be gay. It doesn't say,
I've never read the Bible, but that's mainly because I can't really read.
Well,
but that's not the point.
And it's and another thing, and this goes to the religion, is how can your religion, your preachers, your pastors, your bishops, your whatever, stand up there and talk bad about gay as they're molesting children in the back of their...
Exactly.
Like, you can't sit up there and tell me you're going to hell because you're in love with somebody. For somebody else to, and somebody said this to me once, that gay people don't have a moral compass. It's like, who the hell are you?
Exactly.
Like, to say that.
Acting like this, you shouldn't.
You have no moral compass.
Exactly.
Like, because this dude likes that dude, he's
So,
a horrible person? Why?
So what you're saying is, you can love who you want to love, but when it comes to me loving another female or a dude loving another dude, that's wrong.
The restraining order said I can't love who I want to love.
Dad,
but
you gotta stop with this. You have to knock it off.
one day,
One
day, Danny DeVito will be mine.
That just reminds me of the 2 photos I have of him in my wallet.
Danny DeVito, the sexiest man alive. It's ridiculous. And that's why you say it, because it's a dick thing to do.
Stop.
No, I'm just saying it's a dick thing to be that way, so it's ridiculous.
No, that's just because you don't know how to properly pronounce the words.
There are a lot of words.
Going to the, like, how we were talking about, like, people shaming gay people and stuff. How about instead of shaming someone for, being attracted to the same gender, shame pedophiles, molesters.
Exactly.
Sex offenders, shame those people who are.
Why don't we worry about them not being able to reproduce or marry or being around children or your mom has this thing where every weekend she watches murder shows.
Crime documentaries.
Oh my, like 60 Minutes and shit. And I'll be coming down all sleepy-eyed, rubbing my eyes and cleaning out the eye boogs and stuff. And I sit down and all of a sudden, boom, death right into my head. I'm like, what the fuck? There are so many unsolved cases and so much shit like that. This one she was watching, this guy was arrested I think it was 6 different times for rape, kidnapping, and something. It was always let out. Always. And then he ended up murdering his last victim and got away with it for 10 years. Why are you letting him back out? Why are you
That's what I'm saying. If
saying, oh, look.
repeated things, why do you keep letting him out? They're going to continue or make worse.
And I get it. So say the first time he was arrested, he did his full sentence, not out on parole. He did his full sentence. So he didn't have to register as a sex offender. He didn't have to be on parole because he did his full entire time. And sometimes that works for people. But as soon as he went and kidnapped and raped another person, that's it. It's over. Not 3 strikes, not 10 strikes in his case. You fucked up, bro.
It happens once and they do their full time. You let him out. If it happens again,
they're
don't
not
let
going to
him
change.
out.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
They're going to do it again.
But again, another problem with that, and it all goes back to how the world turns, is money. Because it does cost money to keep them locked up. Because us as the American public and the taxpayers, we're paying for their food, their soap, their water, their, it all is getting paid for, which sucks. But I can't also be like, you deserve to die. Because then I'm no better than them.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's got to be something. And now some of these, they used to do that you've seen on cop shows, that they make license plates. Well, there's got to be something where they're giving back. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I like going to the old state pen here.
It is fun going there.
Because we also found out what is now a golf course used to be a field that those inmates, and only certain ones, went out, they plowed, they grew food. That went to people.
They're giving back.
Giving back. You fucked up. You took away. You need to give back. So there's got to be better ways of that. And I'm not saying let mass murderers out on work release. All right. I mean, they can do something there. Give him a crayon and he can fill in on something. What I mean? But there's got to be some way, even whether they want to or not, that they are forced to give back. And and there's got to be a way that and I don't mean like bake sales. I am not going to eat anything some inmate made because it's going to have hooch or something in it. Or razor blade in my brownie. But to I want to say earn the right, but to take away from the American people, I don't know a better way to say it than the American people, to have to pay for them to live. Because that would suck. If somebody broke into my garage right now and they murdered you,
I completely forgot we're in the garage right now.
First off, I'd murder them back. But
There's a package, by the way.
nice. I would hate for them to live on, and then me paying my taxes is keeping them alive.
Yeah.
You know, that would eat at me. But also, I can't say he deserves to die, kill him. But back to I don't know how we got from reincarnation to prison to murder.
I don't even know how we got from cancer to all the way over here.
There's a lot of death we were talking about tonight, okay? A lot of death.
Anyways, what we were talking about, kind of switching gears a bit, because I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to forget about it. For some reason, it started making me think of, like, abortion and Roe v. Wade being overturned. Is it true that if you were to get an abortion, like, in some places, you get charged for murder in a longer sentence than a rapist would?
Yeah. Idaho is one of those places that has banned abortions.
Like, I also saw this thing on Pinterest that I'm pretty sure I showed you. It was a lady who made a sign. It was, like, holding up, if I'm going to get charged for murder for getting an abortion, I might as well kill my rapist. I'm just saying, do it.
Yes. And so there's a song I like to listen to, and I can't remember. I do. I love music.
Who doesn't?
Music is life. Like
Pop off.
I'll come back to something I'm going to ask, but one of the lyrics says, Gandhi says, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Mm-hmm. So yes, you know, like killing somebody for killing somebody, it's hard to say whether that's right or whether that's wrong or whatever. But there are other things. Mm-hmm. You know what? Chop his fucking hands off. You ain't going to go strangle anybody again with no hands. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Let them live, but
make it so they can't do it again. Somehow.
I fully 100% believe that rapists and pedophiles need their dicks shot off. Become a eunuch. He is not going to go sexually molest anybody with no dick, is he? Well, he still might. But, but I'm just saying, like it doesn't have to be eye for an eye. It can be nose for an eye. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be that. But there are people, and I do believe this, and maybe I'm a bad person to believe this, there are people who do not deserve to live.
I fully agree with
that. Who
that.
will never be a good part of society, who will never contribute, and all they do is hurt and murder and kill, and that is not...
Like, they're just not going to change. Why do you keep thinking, oh, maybe he'll finally change?
Yes.
Like, he's not going to if he's done it multiple times.
Yeah.
That's kind of, like, talk about that also got me thinking about, like, cheaters in a relationship. Like, maybe if it was, like, a one-time thing, and maybe they do change. But if they do it more than once, they're not going to change. Why even bother staying in a relationship with them? Like, I get it. You could love them, but they cheated on you multiple times. Why even bother if they obviously don't feel the same?
Yeah. And how do you love them?
If, like...
See, that's another thing that always gets me, like abused women. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's my fault. He broke 3 of your ribs because you didn't cook a steak right? That's
like
stupid.
Abusers and cheaters, like, maybe it was a complete accident or something, and maybe they do change. Like, I do say that as possible, but if it happens more than once, they're not going to change, and they obviously don't love you back. Why bother?
I don't think it's ever an accident for cheating.
Well, no, it's not, because like
I wasn't just running down the street and I slipped my dick fell inside her.
Or like,
it's
I was drunk. Like, okay, that's not an excuse for anything.
Being drunk.
It's
only
not an excuse.
Gives you the not the willpower, but you only do stuff drunk that you were too afraid to do sober, so you still wanted to do it.
I was thinking about this, and like being drunk's not an excuse, because if you do it while you're drunk, you were obviously wanting to do it while sober.
It wasn't something like, I was just drunk and so I didn't know. You
that
were
also
thinking
reminds me of drunk words are sober thoughts.
Yeah.
Like
there's
being drunk just encourage you to do it more.
There was one thing I heard that, and I'm probably wording it wrong, but the 2 most honest people in the world, a drunk person and a toddler.
Mm-hmm. Toddlers have no chill. It's kind of scary.
They have no filter. Your brother.
Which one?
No.
Riley?
No. Yeah. Carter. When he was little, we're walking down the street, and it's him because he walks slower because he had little legs. We stopped at a stop sign. Fat man on a motorcycle pulls up and stops next to us. Carter goes, "That man's pregnant." I'm like, "Oh fuck, we're gonna die." But that's how kids are. Like,
they don't. Well, I also feel like because kids, like especially when they're super young, don't fully get what's okay to say and do.
Yeah,
They
which
also
is
just
fine.
don't really care.
Yes. And that goes to another thing of little kids is like, I'm sure you've seen in the
Children
videos and
kinda
the
scare
clips
me, I'm
out
not
there
gonna lie to you.
where like the little boys like, we're twins, and it's him and a black boy.
Yes, racism, homophobia. I always think that
It's
stuff's
taught.
taught.
It's a learned emotion.
He was born into a racist family, which makes him racist. Like, no, well, okay, if he was born into a
Yes.
racist family, then it's
Because
obviously his
they
family.
made him that way.
But if you weren't born into a racist family and you become racist and stuff, you were taught it by friend or a different family member or someone. It is always taught.
Yes, it is not something you're not born racist. You're
I
not
love
born
those
homophobic.
videos.
You're not born to be a hating person.
It is taught.
It is
to
a
you.
learned thing.
And
yes.
it is mainly taught to you by family members.
Yes. Yeah. Or
If you're really around
in some
someone a lot.
people's cases, you have bad families and whatever, and you get out, but then the people you idolize and you learn from them, and then they become like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Either way, no matter what, is a learned thing. It is not something you're born with.
Racism, homophobia, and
Yes.
stuff, that's always taught. It's never born
Where
with it.
being gay is not a learned thing. It's not a,
That is, I was born that way.
yeah, it's not a, oh, there's a gay teacher, he's going to make my son gay. No.
It doesn't work like that. Sorry to
No.
break it to you, ma'am. If your son turns gay, he was
You know,
always gay.
I have many gay friends. I've been around a lot of gay.
Me too.
I've been to gay bars because I was poor and I wanted to drink, and I knew I can get a free one there.
Really?
Yes, many times. Look, I used to be thin. I used to have people attracted to
Have
me.
you heard about recently the lady who brought her, like she was straight and she brought her male friend to a gay bar? She was invited by one of her lesbian friends, but without telling anyone or even asking, brought her cis, straight male friend to a lesbian bar. And then they proceeded to get offended when a lesbian cussed out the straight dude for being in the way, especially since it was like a small lesbian bar and he was taking up so much room, and she was questioning why he was at a lesbian bar when he is straight. And then he got offended that he got cussed out by a lesbian for being disrespectful and stuff.
So he was disrespectful.
I think, from what
Okay.
I've seen. I haven't heard the full story.
Because that would piss me off if I went to a lesbian bar and I got cussed out just because I was a straight guy. That's still hate.
He was taking up a lot of room,
But
too. It was
if he's
pretty
being a
small.
douchebag
I'm pretty
and
sure he was. From what I've seen, I'm pretty sure they were like, I'm pretty sure she just simply asked like why he's there and taking up so much room in a tiny hallway.
I guess technically I'd be okay because I'm a lesbian too, so it's fine.
Whoa, really? That's
Yes.
crazy. Did you just come out to everyone?
I did. I just came out. I am a lesbian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm honest. I've been to gay bars. Yeah. I mean, literally,
Like if
when
you're
I
gonna
was
be
more
there-
attractive, less, weight in the mid region, they would hit on me and buy me drinks. And of course, I'd let them do it. I, even drunk, would not go home with them at night. Do you know what I mean? So again, this time I was drunk and I had sex with a man. I'm not really gay. It's because I was drunk. No. Just admit it, dude. Just live your life. Be happier. All these people who are like keeping it in and hiding it and the hate for it because they are secretly gay, let it out and have a happy life. Enjoy life.
Like, yeah.
Who cares?
Like, your family may disown you, but I'm pretty sure you can find a friend or family member who will take you in and care and love for you.
Blood doesn't mean family.
It doesn't.
In
Like, a lot of my friends I do see as family.
yeah. If your parents, gave birth to you and they ditched you as a baby and you were adopted by somebody else, the people who loved you enough to adopt you and take you in, family.
Yes, the people who
The
disowned
people-
you and treated you like crap, they're just people.
So just because you came out this dude's balls into this girl's bajayjay.
Okay, Dad, calm down. You gotta stop. And like that also brings it to the point where like when like grandparents or stuff get so mad when you cut them out of your life, there's always a reason if you get cut out of someone's life.
If my grandparents and my grandpa, in a sense, listening to stories, was a dirty cop. Not like he wasn't murdering people. He was a dirty cop as in, it was like during Prohibition and stuff. He'd warn them when the other police were going to raid the bars, whatever. He wasn't the best man. You know what I mean? He wasn't the greatest guy out there. His dad was a hitman for Capone. All this, but where was I going with this?
I don't know, girl.
They were loving. I guess is the way I'm looking at it. Like, My grandma, my grandpa didn't hate anybody. Okay? They didn't care. They accepted everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised. Now, my dad, when I was younger, even when I was first driving, was very homophobic. So much so that when
Isn't this the bathroom? I'm sorry, but
yes,
okay.
when we were announcing to everybody, or when we, for somebody to come out in our family, I told him last because I was worried it was going to be a big issue. Like my friend Dwayne, when I was growing up, I was roommate for a while. I mean, I don't want to say like we.
Desk?
Oh, I took a thing off in this.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh, I knew this whole time you were gay. It wasn't like that, but it wasn't a big shock when he said I was gay. And it's not like it was going to ruin my friendship with him. We got an apartment together. I mean, yes, I'd go out into the living room, turn on the TV loud when he was having sex.
Okay, Dad.
But even if he was having sex with a female, I would still do the same thing because I don't want to listen to it. Unless I can watch. I don't.
Oh, Dad. Dad.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Enough.
I'm joking.
No more.
Mi scusi. I kid. But at one point, my dad wouldn't sit in the front seat of my car because Dwayne sat there. And like he didn't want to catch gay. I'm like, get the fuck over yourself. And crazy enough to say, the man who was that way in the past was also a Trump supporter. Huh? But he's not now. He's very accepting, and it's awesome. I'm glad people can change, but it's just like, again, I lost my train of thought because I'm old and I do this, and I probably have like ADD or some shit. I jump around.
I feel like you do.
Yeah, it's just accept people for who they are and move on. Like it's okay.
Like I only really feel like it's okay to hate someone if they are like, doing the bad things like rape and stuff, or like, where was I going? Hold on. Give me a second. Or like if they're out here causing problems, being rude because, like if you want to support Trump, as long as you're not trying to make me support Trump or being offensive or being rude. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't judge people by who they support.
It like also like,
but don't try to push it on me.
As long as you're like, okay, you support Trump and you are fine with me not supporting him, okay, I don't care.
I can be friends with people who support Trump. I don't give a shit that you're wrong. But yeah, don't force it. It's just like
keep it to like you're a Christian, okay, you believe in God,
like religions,
okay.
yeah. Mormons.
I don't. As long as you aren't pushing it on to me, I don't care what
the
you
one
do.
thing with Mormons and even Jehovah's Witnesses, because they're just as bad. Don't go door to door and try to push your beliefs on other people.
Yes, they don't believe
If somebody wants to check out your religion and see if they believe it, they'll come to your church. They'll ask you, hey, can you come talk to me more about this? Knocking on the doors and saying, let's talk. Let me tell you why you're a bad person.
That's just not cool.
And if the magical man in the sky was real, he would not agree to that.
Like
Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't. If everything I've read and studied,
isn't he supposed to be like this very supportive and loving
this
person?
all loving, yes, loves everybody.
And then his followers are like, "Oh, you're going to hell for being gay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're this blah blah blah." Like,
yeah,
you aren't like. Isn't the whole point of believing in him supposed to be following in his footsteps and being
literally
loving?
Says, "Love thy neighbor."
Yeah. So who cares?
Not hate everybody who doesn't look and act like you.
Exactly.
So
this has also got me thinking about when you call someone out for being homophobic or racist and like, oh, well, times are different. Okay, but you've had from then to now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the 80s was different, but the 80s was
yes, the 80s was different.
40
it was different, but it still wasn't cool or okay.
It was never okay
to be homophobic and racist back then either.
Like, yeah, I get
it's not like being gay is something new.
It's not. Like, yeah, it would become more accepting. And, like, back then, more people were that way. So, like, maybe you thought it was more accepting then, but it was never okay to be racist or homophobic. And, like,
I think the only difference now is that
more people are. I don't know, actually.
I wouldn't say more people are. I would say maybe more people are standing up and saying, fuck this, I'm tired of hiding.
Exactly.
And that's the only difference, is because they're like, screw you, I am who I am. More people accepting who they are and trying to just be them. And you know what? Teachers didn't make them that way, people. They were always that way. They didn't learn to be gay.
You can't learn to be gay.
Yeah.
You can learn to be more accepting.
Yeah.
And
and it's not hard. You'll be much happier.
If you would just
if you're not a
accept for
hateful
people.
person, you would just so much happier in life. Just go through life being happy and be like, cool, you like dudes. Yeah. More women for me because you're not trying to get them.
And like, back to what I was saying, like, you can't use it as an excuse when you've had multiple decades
No.
to realize, it wasn't okay how that was.
It should never be excuse anyways.
Exactly. There isn't an excuse to be that way.
I
It's
hate
just
the excuse
bad.
of he was raised this way. I hate the excuse of, he comes from a bad family. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. You
You
can,
make your own decision, especially as an adult.
if you were born into a racist, homophobic family, the moment you move out, you are making your own decisions. Even like while you're growing up, you can still somewhat make your own decisions.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that way because you grew up around it.
Guess what, everybody? Love don't care who you love. Thanks, Firehouse. You rock. But it's true.
But,
It's true.
You can't use that as an excuse because it's not an excuse. There is never an excuse to hate, to like be homophobic, to be racist. Like, say you're a straight dude.
I'm a straight dude.
That's not what I meant.
But you said, so I
Like,
did what you
say
told me
a
to.
straight dude was like wronged by one gay person. You can't hate every gay because they treated you like crap.
But the same goes for everybody. And,
Exactly.
and
that was just the only example
I know.
that came to head.
There's somebody we both know who does that. Didn't have a bad experience himself. Didn't really have any run-ins, but sees how some bad cops have acted and now thinks all cops are bad.
Like, yeah.
Okay, that's not okay, and it's not how it is.
I also feel like the internet is really only focusing on the bad cops, and that's probably why.
Yes,
more.
and they need to be brought out and shown and punished or whatever
Like,
you
I
want
don't
to
feel
call
like
it.
all cops are bad cops, but I do feel like there are
Do
a
I?
lot.
Yes, there are, and it is a faulty system. And the problem is that a lot of cops and a lot of military, and I'm not saying this from experience. I'm just saying this from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've read, what I've learned from the news, are people who need to feel powerful. And that gives them the freedom to do that. As a cop, like this cop could be totally wrong, but you're not allowed to fight back because then you're fighting the law and that puts you in more trouble. And it's been allowed to go for so long that it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And there are a lot of good cops. There are a lot of cops that are joining
But
the police department because they feel they can make a change and they're trying to make a change.
But then the internet and all these people only focus on the bad ones and what they have done. They aren't realizing, not all cops are going to be like that. There are some who are actually trying to help and trying to make it better.
And I like Trevor Noah.
Who?
Trevor Noah. Okay, he's awesome. You should look him up tonight when we're done. But he said once, all these people are talking about, trying to fix the bad apples. And he's like, you're never going to fix the bad apple because the tree is rotten. So something like that. Like, you need to fix a lot more than just that cop's bad, that cop's bad. You need to start, fix all of it.
Like, yeah, you can like mention and talk about and somewhat focus on the bad stuff. But you also need to realize it's not always like that. It's not all like that. And you need
Not all Muslims are terrorists. Not all cops are bad.
Exactly.
Not
you
all.
gotta take into consideration that
Not all
just
African Americans
because
are
one person-
gangsters. Like
one person or like a group of people are bad, that doesn't mean their whole race or sexuality or gender is gonna be that way.
yeah,
Like,
not all rednecks are trailer trash, or vice versa. It's just, but that's just how it is. There's bad and there's good with every ethnicity, every religion, every
the whole human
profession.
race, whole world, good and bad.
Yes.
You got to focus on both, not just bad or not just good. Because if you focus on good, you're going to have a lot of disappointments. But if you take in consideration of both, I feel like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, actually.
I get you. We're also, though, focusing on the wrong kinds of bad. Like before we end this, like going back to like the drugs, like somebody who was caught with like, I don't know, there's probably a lot if I say a pound of weed on them. You know, that's probably a lot. I don't know measurements of weed.
I don't know measurements at all at this point.
Shouldn't spend more time in prison than a murderer or a rapist.
Exactly. Like that
And
also brings back the abortion.
That's what
I also
what's
don't get
going
how
on.
abortion is considered murder. By the time you get an abortion, it's not really a fetus. It's not even, I don't even think it has a pulse at that point.
The problem is it's not my body.
Exactly. Not your body, not your choice. Get over yourself.
Also,
Aren't all these like Roe v. Wade being overturned by dudes who can't even get pregnant?
and what is it doing to them? What is it harming them?
Exactly.
It's not. So
And why would I, as a woman, want to bring a child into a world where if they turn out gay, how do I know they're going to be safe? Or if I put them in school, how do I know they're not going to get
also
shot?
don't want no, and I understand we don't want to like, I'm sorry, I'm not talking shit about your profession. You're probably really safe people. I don't know. A bunch of drug addict hookers, and I'm not saying all hookers are drug addicts. I'm sure there's some very nice hookers that don't do drugs. Enjoy what you do for work, and if you enjoy it, go for it.
Pop off, queen.
But you get what I'm saying? We don't want like somebody who's just going out there and popping out kids, and then these kids are in the system, or these kids are being born with
Like,
deformities or fetal alcohol syndrome or already hooked on smack, which was how they used to call some of the drugs back in the 80s. I get we don't want that, but stopping. I'm backwards here on what I was saying. I was trying to use that as an example to allow abortion. Well, yes, that's
like abortion was made a thing because it's like a lot of women might need an abortion or they will die. You are pro-life, but you are willing to give another life for
Yes.
a baby.
yeah.
And also, I saw another thing. I'm pretty sure probably on Pinterest too, because I get a lot of like protest photos and stuff for some reason. But it's like, hold on. It was like, if I do keep this baby and if it comes out gay, are you still going to protect its rights? Are you still going to make sure it's safe if it turns out gay?
Well, how about look at how many orphanages
Yeah, like some
or overstocked
overstocked dad.
up on their shelves.
Like, how about
neatly.
instead of focusing on someone getting an abortion, focus on the kids in orphanages who need
and
to be
foster
adopted.
care, which is
Kids
not
being abused who need a better family.
yes. You're okay with bringing them in and making them suffer for their entire life because you didn't want that mom to have an abortion. And they keep talking about, oh, there's so many other options. What?
Exactly.
The morning after pill. You don't know for weeks. You know, condoms don't always work.
Isn't
You
it
know,
like, I'm pretty sure even on the box it says it's not always going to work.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't know where.
Even
I don't know.
even a vasectomy on a man isn't guaranteed you're not going to get pregnant. There's still that chance that a little white fishy dude is going to swim all the way up.
Fishy dude.
It's never guaranteed that, without completely removing every sexual organ. But again, it's not my body. Now, say I get a girl pregnant, me and that baby mama, we're gonna be talking. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep the child.
But at the end of the day, it is her choice because it's her body.
Not because I'm pro-life. We're going to fight because that's my kid and I want my kid. I like kids. I want to raise my kid. But
every time
yes,
abortion gets,
I cannot force that woman to have the baby.
every time abortion gets brought up or I like see something about it, I always think like, if you're still in the mother's life, like as a father, if you're still in their life and you are not a terrible person, yeah, you can voice your opinion and say, hey, I don't think you should get an abortion, or hey, I think you should.
Even if it
But at
came
the
down
end of
to,
the
but
day-
like, once the baby's born, I will take full responsibility. You don't even have to be in its life.
But at the end of the day, it's the woman's choice because
Yes.
it's her body.
Yeah.
And also another video I saw. I need to stop going on TikTok so much. Anyways, not
That'll
the
never
point.
happen.
It won't, but not the point. But it was like another video about like how this lady, she was talking about it, and it's like obviously herself, like, but she's like ranting, like bringing up a point, and like this generation, she's like brought up like how like not her, but it's like an older person saying, oh this generation and with no kids and stuff, and then she was like talking about like bringing up the point, like you're not everyone's financially stable enough, and with all these student loans, for like, oh, it's going to help you get a better job. And then it doesn't always. Like, and how some people can barely afford the rent, how they're supposed to afford a child and make sure they have a good life. Like, she even brought up, like, and obviously it was like how I said, just like a little rant, like bringing up a point. Like, there are married couples out there who both work full-time jobs who still can barely afford a rent. How are they supposed to give a child a loving home and be there for the child and for food and clothes and stuff if they can barely afford their rent?
Yeah. My mom worked multiple jobs. My sister and I made dinners for my 2 younger brothers. Like, and it's not like she went into it. It happened out of divorce. And that was back in a time when it was easier. And I'm not saying it's ever easy for someone to raise 4 kids. But obviously 70s, 80s, 90s was an easier time, cheaper time than it is now. But it was also tougher because it's not like we had cell phones where she can check on us while she's at work. We had a home phone. We didn't answer it. You're calling neighbors and friends to see if they've seen us.
Especially like, when you have a baby, the baby depends on both of their parents. You can't just force someone to do that on their own when they're going to need both parents to, like.
I disagree there because I don't think they need both parents.
That's not. Okay, you're right. But like a baby.
It might be easier, obviously, if they're both in the life and they both want to help out, but they also don't necessarily have to be together.
What I was trying to say is like, if you have a baby, it's going to depend on you for its every single need.
Both parents should be responsible.
But like if it gets to the point where it's just one parent, you can't just force a babysitter to take care of your child all the time because the child needs its.
Why not? Rich people do it.
Well, not all rich people are good people.
I agree. You should raise your own kid,
I
not
feel
have.
Like in the video, again, she brought up like, if you have a baby, it's going to depend on you until, it's old enough to be able to depend on itself. That's like pretty much what I'm getting to.
I'm not old enough to depend on myself yet.
Well, that's your problem.
Mommy.
But like, if you have a kid, it's going to depend on you to feed it, to clothe it, to bathe it, to brush its hair.
He can wash himself in the tub.
Not if it's a newborn.
Yeah, I'll throw the bar soap in there.
Dad, your child's going to die.
Well, he better learn to breathe in the water.
Better turn into a mermaid. But do you get what I'm trying to say? Your child's going to depend on you. You can't just expect it to live on its own out of the womb.
And that's another way, another thing that I agree, like, not necessarily can't afford it, not necessarily can't. Well, let's go to can't afford it here. We're going to have to stop soon, but okay, so all these people are fighting for this person to make sure they have their baby. Well, now you're going to have to pay extra money because she can't afford it, so she's going to have to get on WIC, go to the food banks, do all this, and you're going to have to keep supporting it. So now
you're going to force someone to have a child, help them out, be there for them. If
they're going to have to be, whether they want to or not, because their taxes are now going to have to go to that, because now we're going to have all these hungry kids and poor families and people going homeless and all this because you wouldn't just let her get an abortion and be more prepared before she brought a child into this life.
Like, a lot of people might not even be able to have kids if they can't afford to care for the child.
Yeah.
Or they can't, like, they don't have a good enough, they don't live in a good area. Like, she even brought up, like, if I put my kid in school, if I don't have good property, how am I supposed to know that school's good? Because, like, the school depends on the, like, taxes and stuff. It's, like, you're pretty much paying for the school, but if you're not in a good area, you don't have good property, how is that school supposed to be a good school for the kid?
Yeah, it's not. And then that kid's going to grow up to be a murderer. Or something else, and there's people out here that are reproducing who should not. Part of me thinks you should be able to pass an exam before you can have a baby. Like,
you can't just force this generation to have kids when, with all the, like, prices, inflation stuff, like, a lot of people can't even afford their rent for a small apartment. How are they supposed to be able to afford kids? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say?
If your mom ever left me, I couldn't afford a rent. I couldn't, literally. So like your oldest brother's apartment at $1,550 a month plus, he's got to pay for parking, water, sewer, trash, power, all that kind of stuff. But to even be thought of accepted for them to even look at his application to live there, he had to show that he made 3 times a month of rent.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to show that he was making $4,500 a month, which is not, but we co-signed for him. But that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How much they want to charge for rent and how nobody's ever going to be, unless you're old and retired and have just money coming out your hoo-ha. You're not, you know what I mean? Or a doctor or your mother are going to be able to, afford that. And those kind of people aren't renting the apartments. They're owning their own home. They're in a condo in New York. They're in an old folks home because they're lazy. They're not trying to get these apartments. And I get, they want good tenants who'll take care of the place. They want the charging more money like that isn't going to get you that. It's going to make your property stay vacant for longer. And then that's going to hurt you even more than just charging a fair amount and helping people out. Like, look, I get it. During COVID, there was months where you weren't working. Okay, we'll figure that out at the end of your lease. But at least get me this month's rent and we'll move on from there, or something. Instead, they were like, you didn't pay for 3 months. I don't give a fuck that the government said you couldn't work. You're out. That's bullshit. And it's not okay. And it's just more problems. And it's all because of money. Money's a fucking problem, people. Let's all be poor and happy.
But also, one more thing I want to talk about. Well, say is why are you getting upset because someone doesn't want to have kids? If you,
I'm not.
Not you.
Well, you pointed at me and said, "Why are you?"
I'm not pointing at you. I'm making a statement.
You got 4 fingers pointing at me every time you talk.
But people, people can't just get mad because someone doesn't want to have kids. If you want to have kids, you want to you have 6 kids. Good for you. Not everyone's gonna want kids. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Not everyone wants that.
And you know what they'll say back to you? Don't have sex. Shut up.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
Live
Mind your
own life.
business.
Get out of my business.
Don't worry about whether or not I'm having kids or
worry about
whether or not I feel that I'm in the right place to have a kid, so I want an abortion or anything like that. You want to deal with kids and stuff. Shh, quiet time.
Okay.
You can go out and you can have your own kids and you can figure that out and do that. Worry about you and your family and your stuff, and don't worry about anybody else. And don't teach your kids to be hateful. Don't teach your kids that it's okay to treat someone like shit because they're not like you.
Yeah.
Let them decide to come to that decision on their own. And I don't mean that in a they can decide to be dicks. Some people will. Some people also won't. It's just be accepting and be happy and just be.
Also, you saying let's all be poor and happy makes me think, I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and unhappy.
Exactly.
Money can't always buy happiness.
Sure can, but it can buy me a boat.
Stop talking about songs. Stop saying song lyrics.
At least you knew. You knew.
It is a good song, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a good song, but...
It's true. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money just buys the toys that'll make me happy.
Yeah, I get it. Some people, it can buy happiness depending, not fully, really, kind of, do you get what I'm trying to say? Some things will make you happy.
It buys a false sense of happiness. How about that?
Yeah, that makes more sense. But,
because you know what? A boat only makes you happy for a little while. And then you're just alone on a boat sad.
Be happy. It's not always about money.
Don't worry. Be happy.
If you do not stop.
Every little thing's going to be all right.
Dad.
All right, let's end it here.
Okay.
You can take us out. It's not that hard.
It is
Dad
obviously.
bods out, bitches.
I don't curse.
Do it now.
No.
Fuck.